about to go downtown.
Downtown, hey!
Downtown. You about to go downtown.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, and welcome to another week's episode of Downtown Podcast. Don't waste no time with negativity. And today we have serial entrepreneur, boss, and a king in his own lane, Ivan. And I'm really bad with last names, so hence why.
No, don't worry. Ivan Thomas.
All right, and not everyone's comfortable with it, but we have Ivan Thomas here with us today, and I'm really excited for this conversation. He's based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and he's out there working, motivating everyone, whether it's about your credit, yourself, just life in general, and the things that I really feel we do need to keep discussing and pushing those conversations forward. So hi, Ivan.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well, and how are you?
I'm doing excellent. Can't complain.
And at the top of everyone's mind, I love to ask, just because, not love to ask, but it's something I definitely want to know what everyone's thinking. Like, where were you when this whole pandemic hit? Were you a believer of it at first? Or were you just like, we're fine, everything's fine? Like, what are your thoughts on it? Mm-hmm. So much has happened recently.
Absolutely. Yeah, so where was I? Probably just working. You know, I have a PR company, Intrigue Media Group. So I work with a lot of clients, and I was probably just working. And I do recall a lot of the dialogue around the pandemic, and lots of people not taking it seriously, but I took it seriously from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. You know, whenever they're talking about something that's viral or that's, you know, can be transmitted through the air and you breathe it in, you know, that's something that I take very seriously. So even a lot of medical professionals were saying, you know, it's just like the flu or the common cold, you'll be all right. You know, I have family members who are in the medical field, and even they weren't really taking it that seriously at that point. But from the very beginning, I was, you know, hey, I'm not messing around with it. I'm taking the proper precautions. And the more you started seeing the cases, and I'm like, look, this is taking place all around the world. So how could you not take it seriously? So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely unfortunate. You know, I've really seen the impact that it's had on so many families. You know, fortunately, it hasn't hit anybody in my family, but I do know friends that have been impacted by it. I do know people who have lost family members as a result of it. I know people who have been furloughed or lost their jobs as a result of the pandemic. So you know, it's really just taking a toll from a health perspective to a financial and economic perspective. I'm seeing small businesses, even big businesses, you know, being impacted and having to close their doors. So definitely, you know, it's really just a trying period. You know, I believe that everything in life, both good and bad, is temporary. So I do think that we will get through this. I don't know if we'll ever, as a society, completely return back to normal, because it's always going to be a fear, you know, in a lot of people's minds. But, you know, I think that it's just something we got to continue to push through. And so that's my mindset on it.
I love that. And it's very motivating. And I find, not to be so blunt, but a lot of Black people have kind of, despite the negativity that surrounded this, they've also found it to be a relief, because some people were able to take that break that they never knew they needed. They tapped into different talents, or they've, like, a talent maybe that they've been pushing to the back burner, not believing in themselves, with being fired from their jobs, or, you know, whatever the case is, it was that extra oomph to motivate them to say, you know what, now it's time for me to, it shifted a lot of people's thinking.
Oh yeah, absolutely, including mine.
Yeah,
including mine. So I started a new company, actually two, but one still, you know, we're building it up. But so really, I started two companies over COVID-19, and also I finished my book, Defy Gravity, Unleashing Your Greatness Within, which was something that I've been working on for a year prior. But, you know, you get so caught up in work and everything that you have going on. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I have a family, I have kids. So, you know, it's just, there was so much going on that I didn't have the time to really get into it and finish it the way that I wanted to. So I neglected it for a couple of months. But the pandemic gave me the time to be home more, to really focus on some of the things that I was doing outside of my businesses, and to finish my book. And actually, I was able to include COVID-19 in my book and really share some valuable lessons about how people can cope with that and get through that, some of the things that we should have learned during this period. None of that would have been possible had it not been for the pandemic. And of course, I'm not happy that it happened.
But it's true.
Yeah, life is very interesting. Things happen for a reason. I think that message was very important in my book. So I had the opportunity to finish that over COVID-19, and I'm very proud of that. I think that's one of my biggest accomplishments. I'm getting some great feedback around that. So yeah, COVID-19, definitely, I took it as an opportunity to seize opportunities. You know, I think a lot of us sit back and, you know, we have a woe is me type of attitude, or we succumb to what's taking place, when really this is the time to really test your mettle and figure out who you are, develop an understanding of who you are and what you're made of. And honestly, a lot of your greatest moments can come from tragedy.
That's the thing. I find, you know, I reflect in life sometimes and I look at the moments I guess I would consider as bad or not my brightest moments. And I'm like, oh, like, why'd I have to go through that? But then I think about the result or what the mental capacity it pushed me to, where I even surprised myself. And not for everyone I'm saying, but in my situation, it's helped me to elevate and to really surprise myself to say, wow, you can do this, you can go through this and still come out on top. So, you know, I definitely resonate with a lot of what you're saying, Ivan. And I want to make it clear, I have a lot of articles that I'm supposed to be putting out, and it's like, oh, the work. So huge congratulations to getting your book out, because I know like, a book, let alone an article, it's a huge feat. So I definitely need a copy. Need my copy. I see it's available on Amazon, so I will be supporting and getting my copy, because
I appreciate that.
I do like to read, and as a king out here just doing positivity, why would we not support that? Right? Everyone speaks about, oh, Black Lives Matter and supporting it, etc. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that are just hand reach around you that you're like, hey, you know, a way you could do this is by supporting, etc., etc. But yes, but here at Downtown, we support you and we support what you're doing. And as I said, I resonate with everything you are saying, and just digging deeper into seizing the moment. You know, I was speaking to someone yesterday about the fact that it's the fourth quarter now. And what does that mean to her? Because I know what it means to me. So I kind of want to ask you, because you seem like you're engaged and you're in tune with what's happening. What does the fourth quarter mean to you?
Well, hey, the fourth quarter is game time. It's closing time. You know, I look at it as you're in the championship game and you got to close out strong. You got to bring forth your best performance. So that's the way I look at it. Everything that I've accomplished over the course of this year, you know, I had certain goals, and of course, certain things were sidetracked as a result of COVID-19. But, you know, fortunately, God blessed me to be able to stay afloat and to push through and to really tap into my gifts and some of my passions and really get back in touch with my purpose so that I can really push through and make some things happen. And now my focus is just closing out very strong, you know, and I think that should be everyone's focus. Just taking a look at your goals. What were your goals for the year? Seeing how close you are to reaching them, or maybe you've already reached them, or maybe you're far off. But I think it's all about your mindset. And my mindset is, you know, you got to be like Kobe Bryant or Jordan, you know, at the end of the game, and you got to close it out strong and finish off with your best performance.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so important. I was saying there's a holiday, like here in Canada, we have our Thanksgiving this coming Monday.
Okay.
So every month for the remainder of the year, there is a holiday, right? Because November, we don't really have one, but there's Remembrance Day, and then there's your guys' Thanksgiving. So as an entrepreneur, I mean, like, this is a time, like, sleep is bare minimum. You got to get in the grind, and you got to, as I like to say, you got to be locked in. One of my favorite motivational speeches from Diddy, like, locked in. You know, there's some people that you are going to have to be upset with me right now because I'm not going to make everything. I had to do that sacrifice to lock in for a better result in the end. And fellow entrepreneurs like yourself understand that. Some people will just have to be disappointed for the short term so you can have better results in the long term. Correct. Right? Now, I see you post a lot about, you know, fixing people's credit. And let's be honest, finances when it comes to Black people is not our strong suit. What are just even some easy everyday tips? Because people be like, oh, I don't have all that money to pay these creditors, whatever excuses we usually come up with, ready to say instead of figuring out a solution to get better,
Right.
to have financial freedom.
Yeah, I think just about eliminating the excuses. First and foremost, you got to know what your credit is. I can't tell you how many people I talk to who haven't even reviewed their credit reports.
No idea.
They have no idea what they qualify for, what they don't qualify for. And if they don't qualify, they're applying for all of these different things and getting rejected, and then getting all these hard inquiries and negative marks on their credit reports that are taking their credit scores even further down. So the first step is just being educated. I think that's the first step. Know what's going on in your life. I check my bank account. I check my credit scores all the time, frequently. I know I don't even get a new credit report but once a month, but I'm always just monitoring it. Okay, how many more days until my next credit report comes out? I'm always on top of it ever since I educated myself about it and saw how important it is in our lives as far as saving us money, getting us better interest rates, helping us to qualify for loans or access to credit cards and credit, different bonuses that you can apply for. I mean, you have people paying extra deposits on cable bills or cell phone plans because their credit is bad. When if you have good credit, it's just, hey, this is when your first payment is due, you make your payment. So there are so many pros to having good credit. And I think in our community, we just believe cash is king, right? Let me get to the bag. We're focused on the actual dollar. But the difference between lower class and middle class and the wealthy is that they know how to leverage credit. They don't need it. They have a lot of money, but why put all of your money out there when you can hold on to it and utilize credit and then just kind of, play the game, so that you're making sure your money is working in the most strategic way possible. And that's how you build wealth. So I think the first tip is educate yourself. Just learn about credit, learn about what a FICO score is. A lot of people don't understand that you actually have three main credit scores from the top 3 bureaus, which are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Some people only think that they have one, or they're on Credit Karma, which only shows you 2 of your credit scores when you actually have 3. So you could be at a 700, on TransUnion, and your Equifax could be 619, So those are things that you want to know. So that would be my first tip, just educating yourself, and then recognize that you don't have to live with bad credit. A lot of people feel like, hey, my credit's messed up, I just got to deal with it. No, you don't have to deal with it. You can address your credit yourself, and if you don't understand how to do it, hire a professional, and you'll save tons of money instead of paying thousands of dollars off on something and not understanding that even if you had a collections account or a closed account or whatever, and you pay that bill, it's still going to show it was in collections or that it was a closed account and you might have paid on it, but it's still going to show up as a negative item on your credit report. So you want to get that removed. So those are some of the initial tips. Just be educated and recognize you don't have to live with it, and just make sure that you stay on top of it.
That is very huge. It reminds me like a couple I want to say a couple of years ago, I got to speak with a beautiful young lady, Angel Rich, shout out to her. And she wrote the book, History of the Black Dollar. And I remember speaking with her about it. And similar to what you're saying, it's like all these things that Black people thinking we have to live with it, or, oh, what's done is done kind of mentality. And no, it's not too late. And unfortunately, the history shows that we've kind of made those mistakes, but it's not too late to change that course now and listen to people like Ivan, and Ivan, for real, that can help to assist you in getting that under control and better and setting realistic goals. There's no way you can just stack $50,000 in a month and just pay it all off in one shot. You have to have a plan. You have to be strategic.
Absolutely. And why would we want to do that? I think that pop culture has influenced us a little too much, where we look at the rapper saying, oh, hey, I dropped $300,000 on a Bentley. Why would you do that? That's stupid. Even if you have the money in your pocket, why would you just want to give away $300,000 like that when you can just finance your car and make timely payments on your vehicle and save hundreds of thousands of dollars that you can still use? Just pay your bills on time. Like,
I learned that one the hard way.
right. So, I mean, and then we wonder why so many people have gone broke. I mean, we think that it's all about, oh, that person doesn't need credit. I see people all the time on Facebook. What would I rather have, $50,000 or an 850 credit score? And people, and the argument that they'll say is that, well, if I get the $50,000, you can pay to get your credit done. But what that shows me is that you don't have the discipline to get your credit done in the first place, because why would you need to wait to get $50,000 to fix your credit? You can address it now.
Yeah.
In most cases, you can address it for a few $100s. So why would you wait? That just shows me that your priorities are messed up. And the reality is you'll save so much money over the span of your life by having good credit if you just address it. And then, hey, maybe you'll get $50,000 later with an 850.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, I just think it's a matter of priorities, and we see that, with our athletes who can make hundreds of millions of dollars over a career and end up broke because they don't have any financial discipline, no financial education, and they don't have the right people in their corners giving them the right information. They don't understand that, look at COVID-19. No one is really secure. So you can't focus on the money. You have to make sure that you have your foundation stable, because trust me, a lot of people, if they had great credit right now and they might have be furloughed, or maybe their hours have been cut back, if they had good credit, there's a lot of benefits that they can qualify for. They'd have access to a credit card where maybe they can pay a bill and then just make payments on it so that they can stay afloat until they get back on track. But because of their poor credit, they're just messed up altogether.
Exactly. You had mentioned earlier, I'm curious to know, what was that moment for you that made you decide, I want to educate myself about my finances and really get into that before you decided to share it with everyone else?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I mentioned, I have a PR company. So one of my great clients, his name is James Hunt, the celebrity credit guru. He's based in Atlanta as well. And he's worked with a lot of entertainers, a lot of just everyday people. And I saw how, some of our top entertainers, I'm not going to throw out names, but it could be on the top of the charts, and they're living out of an Airbnb because they can't qualify for a home. So people think, hey, they're rich, they don't need credit. No, there's celebrities out there, your favorite celebrity, who can't buy their house because their credit is terrible. You can have a 400 credit score and be a multimillionaire. And that means that you always have to cough up big money to get every single thing that you want, And when I saw that even celebrities, even these multi-millionaires worth $80 million or $100 million are struggling to do things that they want to do. Of course, they're not having the same types of struggles as the average everyday American, but
they can save a lot more.
Right. But they have a lot of responsibility.
Exactly.
So when you're putting up millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars into something and your credit is bad, it still has an impact on you. So I just started seeing what was going on, and it made me want to look into mine. So then I'm like, hey, I need to address my credit. I want to make sure that my credit is in tip-top shape so that anything that I want, I can qualify for. Because
what really happened, we could just dig a little deeper, because it's just that realness for people, because a lot of the times they feel like they get fluffy answers, or people try to come on social media and act like holier than thou, and I want them to know there's real people like yourself, like your client, that have come from real situations.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I deal with it. I handle credit for family members. We have, and for friends, and their credit is really low. And they didn't understand the importance of credit. I remember I went to Howard University in Washington, D.C. I remember being 19 years old, walking around campus, and people from representatives from credit card companies walking around trying to get you to sign up for credit cards. So, not really understanding what that meant. Of course, it's like, hey, yeah, I'll sign up for this. Or you get your little Target card, or, at some department store, and it's not even a lot of money. But $50, $60 that you didn't pay back on your card is sitting on your credit report for a couple of years, bringing down your credit score as a closed account or something that's in collections, and you didn't know what it meant at that time. You're like, yeah, it's just $50. I don't need to pay it back, whatever.
Yeah.
So that stuff actually haunts you for several years. So lots of people, including myself, had items on my account that might have been 5, 6, 7 years old, you know? And it's like, why do you want to be suffering due to a mistake that you made years ago? You know, there's people, I'll look at accounts, they have stuff on their accounts from 2011 and it's 2020, you know? So
You gotta look at that.
right, they're suffering from stuff, mistakes that they made a decade ago, and they just ignore it. They're not addressing it, and they can't make decisions they want to make now, even as more responsible individuals, because of the mistakes that they made. So you want to handle all of that stuff. You got to understand, and that's what holds us back as a community, just not understanding the simple things, because credit is not complicated. It's just a matter of knowing. Just know what a credit score is. Know why it's important.
Yeah.
You know, so what your credit score tells lenders and creditors is that you're a person that if they lend you money, you're likely to pay it back on time. You're going to pay your bills on time. If it's an $80 bill, they know if your payment is due on the 17th, you're going to pay on the 17th of every month, and you're going to be disciplined. So put stuff in your calendar, mark your bills down, mark the dates for your payments, and just stay on track of it. It really doesn't take that long. And just, that's what it takes to really make sure you're good and to make sure that your family's good. And, you know, people that I'm talking to, they didn't talk about money. You know, it's kind of like, we like to talk about getting the bag, chasing the bag, making the money in our communities, but no one really wants to have.
It's like when they say, oh, do you want $1 million? All right, well, it's all good to have it, but what would you actually do with that $1 million?
Right. And if you're lacking financial literacy, you're not going to make the smart decision. You're going to go buy some shoes. You're going to try to buy you a new car, maybe an Xbox or something like that. And I think we've just got to get out of that mentality and recognize that what we're doing now, our kids are going to have to deal with later. What we don't educate ourselves about, we can't educate our kids, and it's just going to be a revolving cycle. And at this stage, when we're seeing everything that's going on in our society, so on the social justice front and our lack of access to certain opportunities, you want to make sure your kids have access. And the only way they're going to get that access is by being educated, having the knowledge so that they can demand what they deserve. If you're not in a position to demand anything, you're not going to get it. You know, at least put yourself in position. So I always tell people, even in my book, position yourself for opportunity. Okay, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And even far too many people, even today, reach out to me, hey, I need my credit fixed. I'm trying to get this next month, or I'm trying to close on this. Why would you wait and expect me to be a magician in 30 days when it takes a minimum of 30 days for a credit agency to get back to you? And you want to rush when you could have done this last year, knowing that you wanted to try to get a house this year.
Everyone wants the quick fix, the quick
fix. Yeah, and I think that's the problem.
So what would you say is one of the things that really helps you to like get up in the morning and do the work that you do? Like, what are one of those things that really drive you?
Yeah, what drives me is my why. You know, I'm one of those individuals where I know what my purpose is. I know what my gifts are. I have come to accept why I'm here on this earth. And I think every person needs to figure out why they are here. We're not just beings on this planet just merely existing. There is a reason that we're here. There's something we're supposed to accomplish. So several years ago, I really delved into like, what am I here for? You know, like, what's my purpose? What am I going to contribute? What am I going to be remembered for? I don't just want to be here and it's like, oh, he lived and he died. Exactly. You know, like, I want to leave my mark on this society. So knowing that I've set out goals for how I want to contribute and impact society, how I want to change lives, the type of future that I want for my children, those are the things that drive me each and every day. And until I know that I can comfortably sit back and say, hey, I've accomplished all of that, I'm going to keep working.
Exactly. And so I could safely say your kids will probably be one of your whys.
Absolutely. My kids are my whys. You know, my family is my why.
That's beautiful.
And I think that, you know, as a Black man, we're frequently told what we can't achieve in this world. As Black people, we're frequently told what we can't achieve. So I just believe that it's my duty and my obligation to put my best foot forward. You know, and now that I recognize my gifts and my purpose, you have a moral obligation to contribute. and to impart your knowledge and wisdom and your experiences onto others. And before that goes out into the world, it has to start at home. So, you know, my kids are my why, and, you know, the impact that I want to leave on this earth is my why.
How do you feel like as a Black man within like the financial space, within the media space? Like, how do you feel? How do you maneuver? Like, I want to get a little bit more into the mind, I guess, of Ivan. Like, how do you really maneuver and feel as like a Black man with everything going on? And I'm sure there's times you try and tell people about their finances, and it's obvious they're not listening to you because of who you are. How do you feel? Like, how does that make you feel and allow you to operate?
I mean, well, clearly there's going to be barriers, you know, as much as
Definitely.
people want to act like it doesn't exist. We know that there's still racism. We know that there's still prejudices that people hold, but I recognize that that's never going to change. You know, I don't see this perfect utopia. Racism is always going to exist. There's always going to be the haves and the have-nots. I've just made it up in my mind that I'm going to be one of the haves. And I'm trying to motivate other people to recognize that they can become one of the haves as well. You're going to deal with adversity. You just can't accept it as an excuse. I'll tell you, there's this book, one of my favorite books. Well, actually, there's two books I'm going to mention to you that just really changed my life and my whole perspective. One is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which is all about mindset and the law of attraction, the law of actualization, you know, and what you think is what your life can materialize into. So I frequently just flood my mind with motivation and positive thoughts about what I can do. So that changed my life. Another book is called Succeeding Against the Odds by John H. Johnson. John H. Johnson, if you don't know, was the founder of Ebony, and he actually had
Okay, I will have to read that one.
Yeah, please read that book. He was a mogul, and actually at one point, one of the wealthiest people in the United States.
I believe that. Ebony? Yeah.
Ebony, yep, the founder of Ebony.
For
So,
sure.
yeah, he was born in 1918 down in the Mississippi mud, he calls it, like Arkansas, Mississippi. And, you know, he couldn't even go to an integrated school at 8th grade, so he had to move up to Chicago. But he dealt with so much. Imagine, 1918, okay? So we're talking like 50 years removed from the Emancipation Proclamation, pretty much, you know? And so you can imagine what his family had dealt with and the type of environment that he was involved in, but he had made up in his mind that he was going to be successful, right? So he became one of the wealthiest people in the United States, grew up in 1918, a Black man, faced all kinds of racism, all kinds of discrimination, all types of doubters and naysayers saying what he could not do because it hadn't been done before, all right? And so his name actually adorned the School of Communications at Howard University when I attended. And, you know, that was reading his book and just being connected in that way and just seeing like, wow, all the things he had to endure, I don't have any excuse at all not to succeed. If he could do it, considering what he dealt with, I can deal with this little stuff. This ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? So we can't make excuses. The first chapter in my book is called Blame Yourself. And the next chapter is called Stop Lying to Yourself. And what I mean by that,
right in there.
I get right in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it comes off kind of hard, but blame yourself. Meaning,
You need to hear it.
Right. Meaning that you need to take accountability for your current station in life. Some people are living in poverty. Some people have gone through all kinds of horrible things. But once you recognize that you have a choice, you have a decision to make, and you own that. I'm here, but I don't have to stay here. You know, that means that you're seizing the power from the source of the pain or the source of the poverty, and you're taking that power, reclaiming that power for yourself. The moment you do that, that's the best thing that could ever happen to you. Reclaiming that power and recognizing that you have a say in how your life turns out. All right. And then the other one is stop lying to yourself. Like we talked about with the credit. You know, if you're not educated, you know, if you haven't taken the time to gain the knowledge, you know, if you don't know the right people, you know, if you're not putting in the work, you know, if you're sleeping when you need to be up, you know all of those things. So the moment you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I need to get with it. That's when your life can change. So when I'm looking at all of these things that are transpiring, you know, and I've lived in diverse situations. I've grown up in predominantly white communities, and I've lived in predominantly Black communities. And of course, I went to an HBCU. So my experience is well-rounded. I'm bilingual. I speak Spanish. So I'm the type of person where I'm not going to let anything hinder me. And I know that there's racism, discrimination. There's people who are going to look at me a certain way. There's even people who are going to be intimidated by seeing a Black articulate man who knows what he's talking about and might be more educated than they are. They might not know how to deal with that and might be standoffish just for that reason. But that's not going to stop me from accomplishing my goals. And if I can't empower this white person, I'm going to empower this Black person, or I'm going to empower this Hispanic person. So they don't stop the show. You know, I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to do what I came here for regardless. And that's my mindset. So I know that was long-winded. Hope I answered your question.
No, you did. I'm just like, I'm selfishly soaking in game for myself.
Soak it up.
Well. So I'm taking it all in, and you're really dropping a lot of gems. So I really hope that everyone watching this will really take in, jot down notes, because you're saying a lot of key things that they can go after listening to this, buy Defy Gravity, educate themselves more, and get in contact with you and get their lives together. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what we want. I would feel horrible to know, I don't have children yet, but I would feel horrible to know that I get in a stage in life and I leave my family with all that stress and financial burden. No, I want to leave them with a company that's well footed in the ground. I want to leave them with, a great foundation so that they can start somewhere way further than where I got to start and take it way further than I could even imagine.
Got to do it. We're already starting hundreds of years behind,
And if my friend was listening to me, she would tell me, you are on your way doing it. It is already done. So let me correct myself.
And I think that that's great. The words we speak to ourselves are so important. And I had to learn that too. Like, I'm hoping to do this, or, I want to do. No, don't say that you want to do it. Don't say that you hope to do it. Do it. You are doing it. It's done. And those are the types of words that we have. And we need that reinforcement at times. But we have to be cognizant of how we talk to ourselves as well, because that plays a role. So I think that's great that your friend did that.
Very, thank you. And is that something that I know you kind of just stumbled on it to say you kind of are aware of it, but is that something that you really like? What are one of those things that you do every day that like, this is something I got to do for my soul, my self-care? And
I listen and watch motivational videos and motivational speeches all the time. So if, we're human. So there's days where we're just not feeling it. I don't care how much of a boss you are. We all have an off day. We all have days where we don't feel motivated. But when I turn on that motivation and I'm listening to, I don't care if it's an Eric Thomas, I don't care if it's a Les Brown or a Tony Robbins or a Gary Vee or a Grant Cardone, I'm listening to these people and they get me pumped up. So I might be slugging. I'm like, yo, get your butt up. Let's get going. Let's roll. So that's what I have to do every single day. I start my mornings just listening to motivation and just getting pumped up. Sometimes I'll work out, either in the evening or in the day, but I think that taking care of your physical health is just as important, keeping your energy up. And, your mind's a muscle and you got to train your mind just the same way you got to train your body and stay healthy, stay fit. So that's the way that I try to keep myself prepared to take on each and every day.
I'm still fighting that battle of the physical part.
Yeah, mind over matter.
But I'm getting there. I bought the equipment. It's just to get up and pick it up and use it.
The first thing is to start, and that's how, I've always been an athlete and, played sports and things of that nature. Was never really a gym rat like that, right?
Yeah.
But I did this 12-week challenge that just kind of changed my life. At the gym, I'm like, man, I keep saying I'm going to get in this great shape and all of this stuff. And so I went into this 12-week challenge. I recognized just how critical your diet is, which is 80%, because I'm working out at the gym and I'm like, I ain't getting no results really, So, and it was my diet was all off. So again, that's educating yourself and knowing so that you can change your behavior. But once I picked up those weights, and I'm just in there, I started feeling a rush. You know what I'm saying? So the first step is just picking those weights up or getting on that treadmill and just starting. And then just try to repeat it one time after you start. And then after you do it twice, you know what? I'm going to do it again until it becomes habit,
Well, yesterday was supposed to be my day one. I already failed, but I said today can be day one again.
Today's going to be it. No,
don't count me out.
I can be different. Today will be different.
Today will be different. See, at least I'm honest, and today will be different. I just recently celebrated my birthday less than a week ago, and I'm now in the last year of my 20s, and I've been doing a whole lot of reflection,
Mhm.
more than normal. And I've really been rethinking a lot of things and realizing how important your circle is, how important, like,
Oh, yeah.
having those, like you said, you have your circle of motivational people that you listen to, but
Mhm.
applying that circle to every aspect of your life, like how just very important that is. Because, like I said to a family member yesterday, actually, I said, pay attention to the things throughout the day that genuinely make you smile or you genuinely feel good after completing that. And that's what you're going to continue. And that's what you're going to build off of. And I'm like, as usual, as human as we are, we always give advice that we want to give ourselves. So that is something I'm applying to myself starting today. So I know I kind of just mentioned it quick, and you probably need a bit more time to like really think, but I'm putting you on the spot a bit. What is
Right.
something that you find outside of the inspirational videos and your kids that make you smile, Ivan, and that you will commit to doing to keep that smile going for yourself?
That make
I
me
feel like black men don't really think about that part. Y'all are just supporting and going.
that.
Yeah.
What really makes me smile? Like
And it's for you, like you.
one thing that I've really noticed that I have to get back to is my love for nature, right? I used to get out and explore
Yeah.
all the time when I was younger. And then you get so caught up in the rat race and just working and all of that stuff. Sometimes I just have to walk into my backyard and look at the sun shining through the trees and hear the birds chirping. I'm just like, wow, like I need this right now. That makes me smile because that's a reminder right there that the world is connected, and how important just God's basic creations are. The clouds, the sky, the butterfly flying over there, the flower growing over there. And I just have to sometimes just go outside, get a breath of fresh air. And I'm amazed sometimes at how much better I feel by just stepping outside and just breathing in the air and just enjoying nature. So I think that makes me smile.
Well, perfect follow-up. Usually I save this question for a little bit closer. Well, we are, but this is one of the staple questions we do ask at downtown, and I'd love to know your answer. So
Okay.
you have the four elements: earth, wind, fire, and water. Which element do you resonate with or connects with you the most, and why?
Earth, wind, fire, or water? I think it can vary sometimes, but
Hmm.
I'm gonna say earth, and then I'm gonna say fire.
Okay, why earth and why did fire come secondary?
I mean, because really at the core of who I am, I'm a peaceful, just relaxed, chill person who just wants people to be happy, who just wants to enjoy life. And I just think that, when you think about earth, it's just, the essence of everything. It's a combination of everything. And, I just feel like I have aspects of all of them. So actually, I don't know if that really applies, but when I think of earth, that encompasses the fire, the water, the
It
wind,
does. It
all of that
does.
stuff. So I just think all of that really makes up who I am. But when I say fire, it's the passion. And I think sometimes people get caught off guard because I do kind of have, that calm demeanor. I'm very pensive and things of that nature. And actually, when I was younger, I used to be a bit more lax, a little more complacent. But the more I started to align myself with my goals and my purpose, the passion really started flowing. I think people get taken aback sometimes. I'm a very fiery individual when it comes to things that I'm passionate about, things that I'm committed to. I don't play games with that. So I would
I
definitely
could
say,
see that though. You're fire in a great way, like in the sense of like you're motivated, you're on your schedule, you're
right.
taking care of your mind, you're taking care of your body. Like it's a good fiery, not
Yeah,
like
I'm committed to excellence. I'm committed to excellence. It's like Kobe said in that
oh,
one
I
song.
love that. I'm committed to
Yeah,
excellence. I might take that one. I,
job not done. Yep.
I like that one a lot. I'm committed to excellence.
Absolutely.
I'm writing that one down so I don't forget it.
Taking notes.
Yes. So, in terms of just what you'd want, I know of course, the parent's going to say, I want the best for my children.
Mhm.
But what is something that, because I did see you posted for National Sons Day, and I love seeing everyone's photos because I love, as I said, I love seeing Black men just embrace their fatherhood. I love that it's becoming more normalized. So keep on doing that and loving your fatherhood and the experience that it brings. And just something that you would attribute, if you could really say, I really hope my sons take this in life and carry it through. What is one attribute or characteristic or just something that you would say, you know what, I really hope my sons grasp this, take this on?
Yeah, I hope that my sons grasp the trait of daring to dream. You know, and I think that that is something that, especially even as adults, we forget to do. Remember when you're a kid and you take that blanket out of your room and it's a magic carpet, and it's a magic carpet because you say it's a magic carpet. You know what I'm saying? Or you're a Jacques Cousteau, dive into the depths of the ocean with the dolphins and the sharks, right? Or you're an astronaut. When you're a kid, you don't place limits on yourself or your abilities. It's just, hey, this is what I want to be. I'm flying, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then the more we get into adulthood, the concept of what's realistic comes into play, right? This is not a good idea, or that's not the safe way to go. That's not realistic. And when we stop dreaming and we fall into this box that society wants to put us into, I want my kids to always dream. If you want to do something, do it. Don't worry about somebody else saying it can't be done, because before the Wright brothers decided to try to make a plane and fly, we wouldn't have airplanes right now. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many things that people just took a risk and they defied the odds. They defied the naysayers and the doubters, and they dared to dream. And because people dared to dream, that's why we're experiencing and benefiting from so many different things now. I dared to dream when I started my company, Intrigue Media Group. I dared to dream when I started my company, Credit Savant LLC. I dared to dream when I wrote my book. And I'm daring to dream that I'm going to impact millions of lives around this world. And I'm going to build an empire that my kids are going to benefit from, so that they don't have to start from the bottom like so many of us do. That's my dream. And I want them to take that trait on, continue to dream and continue to be curious, seek information, seek knowledge. Okay, there's so much out there, and too much is people, we pigeonhole ourselves. And what I will say is, typically in the Black community, lots of times we restrict where we get our information from, you know, but I am seeing a trend. And of course, COVID-19 has impacted that to a degree, but I'm seeing a trend of Black people traveling and exploring the world, which I love, because it wasn't too long ago where you find people who never left their city or never left their state. And when you think of
owned a passport,
right, exactly. When you look at this world, man, there's so many things out there that you don't even know of, or that you couldn't even conceive. There's people, one of your best friends could be halfway across the world right now. The husband of your wife can be over there in Ghana or in Colombia or something, you know? So, I mean, those are things that I want to inspire my kids to do. Be curious, learn languages, learn different concepts. Of course, there's so many things. Of course, know your history, you know, and take pride in being a Black man or a Black woman, but also recognize that there's principles that you can learn from greats from different cultures. And I think that when you just become a sponge and you soak all of that in, that's when you can really get the most quality out of your life.
I agree, like completely. I spoke with YouTuber Jules on the Run, and when we had spoken, she had recently kind of dissolved her engagement with her partner. And she decided she wasn't going to cry. She wasn't going to go through all that heartbreak mumbo jumbo. And right now she is living in Zimbabwe. We speak ever so often. And I love just following her Instagram, because in real time, I seen her make that move and really just dare to dream, as you said. So it's unfortunate that sometimes I feel when some might see things like that, they may respond in jealousy or respond in, who does she think she is? But she's just daring to dream. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we never know who can be one of my favorite shows of all time that I still watch on my Android box is Anthony Bourdain.
Oh my gosh, I
Without
love
Borders.
it. Man, I used to watch that all the time. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
still do. I can never. No, I still do. I could probably talk to you about it forever. Like I still do, and I still like. Oh, Anthony, like why? But
That was my dream job back in the day, and to see that he's gone, man.
really,
Yeah, that was my dream job. I'm like, man, wouldn't it be great to be like the Black Anthony Bourdain, just traveling the world, eating all kinds of food, talking and meeting people from all over the world. Like, I'm like, that's the life, So, I mean, God rest his soul. I hate
God
to
rest his soul. Yeah.
but yeah, that really just, amazing show. I loved it.
Agreed. No, I agreed, and that's what I'm getting to, where it's just like someone would look at that, like myself included, and I would look at Anthony Bourdain, like, and every time I watch him the show, even up to now, I'm like, why? Like, you had everything, all the things that I would want in life. You travel and etc. But like you said, sometimes even though we may be seeing things on the surface with people, you within your own self have to know your why,
Right.
or else you can be doing everything and it's nothing to you because you're still not filling that hole. So I'm happy you said that, and if you don't mind, like, what is your kind of take on that and that aspect of life? Because we would look at Anthony Bourdain and be like, he has everything, but yet still he let his depression and
Yeah. Well, I think that's when it comes to, really looking out for yourself. I think lots of times, I mean, clearly he had a gift, he had a passion, and he was living it. He was, but there was still internal work that he hadn't done on himself. So clearly we know, if you follow Anthony Bourdain, he had a long history of drug abuse or alcoholism. I know that he was dealing with things, I think, in his relationship, his romantic relationship. All of those things, I don't know the details, but I know that those things can build up, and you can be living and walking in your purpose. But, if there's something not right on the inside, it can really just taint everything. And I think we see, and nobody's perfect. We see people with extraordinary gifts, and who are doing amazing things. But if you're not healthy in all aspects of your life, the parts that aren't healthy can start to overshadow or pour into what is great, and that's why I really, I encourage people. My whole thing is the 4 F's, so it's faith, family, fortune, and finance. No, excuse me, faith, family, fortune, and fitness. There we go.
Faith, family,
right?
fortune, and fitness.
Faith, family, fortune, and fitness. I say fortune because it sounds better than finance.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's like spiritually, you have to be healthy. Emotionally and psychologically, you've got to be healthy. If your family life is chaotic, it's going to spill in. I hear a lot of business people and entrepreneurs say, hey, keep your business and personal separate, or keep your family life separate from your business. You can't do that. There's no way you can be married or have kids and it never spills over, which is why you see these CEOs and, their personal life is in shambles, and eventually everything comes crumbling down, usually by way of a major divorce that, costs millions upon millions of dollars and tarnishes your legacy, might impact your relationship with your kids, things of that nature. So that's also an area that I strive to be very healthy in and that I'm committed to. Then, of course, the fortune, which is making sure that my family is financially stable. They have everything that they need, making sure that I have something to pass down to my kids when I'm long gone. I want my grandkids, my great-grandkids to be benefiting from the seeds that I planted here while I'm on this earth. So that is very important to me, which is why I am a big proponent of ownership. Starting your own businesses. It's okay to have a job and work for somebody. There's nothing wrong with that. But even if you are working for a company, I always encourage people to have something that they own. There's nothing like owning your own and being able to pass it down. And that's something nobody can take away from you. And then, of course, there's the fitness, which is taking care of your body. And, we have our vices, we like to have the margaritas every once in a while. I do too, eat some tacos, eat a nice juicy burger. Hey, I mean, I know we got
burgers for me.
stuff out there. I'm not one of them. I'm sorry. But
that's good.
Yeah. Every once in a while, it's cool to treat yourself, but still be cognizant of the toll that certain types of food and certain things that you're putting in your body can impact you. So I make a point to eat healthy, and I might have a cheat meal or something like that. You know, you got to reward yourself, and you don't want to feel like you don't like anything that you're eating. You know what I'm saying? Food is something that, you know, that's a pastime of mine. You know,
Food is a
I
love
like,
for me. Yeah.
exactly. I like to travel. I'm going to eat. You know, I like to eat out. I like to try different food, but you know, I'm committed to my fitness, and I'm 37 years old now.
Yeah.
So
I would not have guessed that.
yeah, I'm happy to hear that, and I want to keep it that way. That's my point.
Yeah.
So you know,
You're a good selling point.
yeah, so I'm trying to take care of every aspect because, you know, I'm a married man with 3 kids.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to tarnish the legacy that I'm building, you know, by screwing up in my marriage or something like, you know, Bob Johnson or, you know, of course we see Jeff Bezos, you know,
Exactly.
billionaire.
You don't want to.
So, I mean, granted, he's rich regardless, but I mean, look at
But
how
still.
much money he had to cough up through that divorce. It's like, I'm not trying to do that to my legacy. You know what I'm saying?
Happy life.
And I mean, I'm in it to win it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really committed to that. Things happen, you know, but that's not something that I'm trying to have happen in my life. So I'm trying to do everything that I can, make sure my family's good, make sure that I'm focused on my goals, make sure that I'm focused on my fitness, and just educating myself about finances and doing everything that I can to safeguard my family, because things like COVID do take place. Things like recessions do take place. And I want to be in a position where we can weather the storm. And that's what it's all about to me. So when we go back to Anthony Bourdain, I just think that he was healthy in certain areas of his life, maybe the areas that matter to the public. But behind the scenes, he didn't have what he needed, you know? And maybe it came to a point where having to put on this face for the public and for the fans, for the viewers and the limelight, he was neglecting those critical things that were necessary to keep him afloat. And unfortunately, he succumbed to that. So,
yeah.
yeah.
I didn't intend for you to get that deep, but I love it. I didn't expect it, but it was a great surprise, because it's very true. I agree with everything you just said. And R.I.P. Anthony Bourdain. At least we still have the content to enjoy and to just.
It's about understanding your why. So he's left a legacy, and that's the thing. He's gone, but you're still going to remember him. You're still going to take joy in watching him take you around the world on the TV screen. You know, meaning something that he did. So.
I want to know, and this is the last staple question that we do ask here at Downtown, Don't Waste No Time with Negativity, is what is a recent situation or an overall situation that you feel was negative and you could have definitely went that way, but you, Ivan, found a way to not waste any time with negativity?
Yeah, absolutely. It happened maybe 2 days ago.
He's like, I got you one.
I mean, it's typically, you know, I do PR, you know, I have a PR company.
Definitely.
Deal with influencers and celebrities who, you know, they're feeling themselves and all of that stuff, and the ego gets in the way of logic. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I'm not going to share all of the details, but pretty much it was a situation.
In the way of logic.
Yeah.
Very true.
Sometimes your ego gets in the way of logic, and you got to understand the times that we're in. And then, you know, some people believe they're somewhere that they're not at this particular moment. And it's my responsibility as a PR mind to strategize for people, to forecast for them, to advise them on the direction to go. They can choose to listen or they cannot. But anyway, so I set up these opportunities for this client that this individual just completely flaked on, which jeopardizes my relationships. It wastes the time of the other media person who, you know, had the studio and had the team and everybody ready. And it was kind of a selfish situation. And I think it was a situation where this individual, you know, we're just in this pop culture era where people try to claim to have all of this money. And lots of times what I recognize is money is the root of a lot of issues, especially when it comes to entertainers, because they're never going to admit when they don't have the money. So they're going to try to project some negativity onto you. But me recognizing that and being a veteran in this industry, and also being somebody who really protects my peace of mind, because that's one thing nobody can take that away from you if you safeguard it. So I'm just like, you know what? Of course, this is a paying client. So I'm like, clearly, I mean, I like to make my money, but whatever that is, it ain't even worth the money that you're paying me. I'll just get another client, which happened, right away. So it's just me recognizing that, like I said, it's all, you have control over the type of energy that you have in your life. And you got to protect your energy at all costs. You have energy stealers, that will completely wear you down and debilitate you, have you doubting yourself, have you frustrated, have you unfocused. If you allow that to happen, you can't allow that to happen. You got to recognize that you are in control. Of course, God has the final say, but there's certain things, certain actions that you can take. There's a certain mindset that you can adapt to where you don't let certain things impact you. And, if you have the right mindset, you can bounce back. I think it's all about mindset.
Exactly. I'm on my third listen of Think and Grow Rich, and I'm pretty sure I have like 30,000 more listens to go. But every time I do the audio version because I like to work while I'm listening to it, and I just learn something new every time. So exactly in the lane of what you're saying, Ivan. And I want to say like huge thank you today for your time. I know you're a very busy man, and thank you for just giving some of your time today to help motivate myself and those that will be watching moving forward. And I want to ask you, where are you, like, how do you feel about people contacting you, and like, what is the best way to get in contact with you? We want people to buy and support Defy Gravity. Tell them the ways that you would like them, or they can support you. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So one, you can hit me up on Instagram at Ivan the Great. All right. You can visit my website, intriguemediagroup.com. And actually, my phone number is on my website, but that's not something, you got to visit the website to get the phone number. So, hey, if you really want to contact me, visit my website, hit me up on Instagram. You can also find my company, Intrigue Media Group, on Instagram as well. Credit Savant is on there as well, my credit company. So there's a variety of ways you can reach me on Instagram, or just visit my website, intriguemediagroup.com. You can get my book, Defy Gravity, Unleashing Your Greatness Within. I'm going to go ahead and grab
thank you. I
it.
was about to ask
See that right there? Very motivational book with proven strategies for how you can overcome adversity, overcome self-limiting beliefs, the doubters, the naysayers, and really launch into your ultimate level of personal and professional greatness. So, when we talk about somebody like Anthony Bourdain or whoever, we want to make sure that you're healthy and that you're successful internally, so that externally you can also be healthy. So that's what I focus on in that book. So feel free to get that on my website, or you can simply go to Amazon.com and you can get it. And I look forward to the feedback. It's getting great reception right now.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to getting my copy. So I'll be making my order after we're finished this, so I can get that. I like to just read and things like along those lines. So it suits in perfectly into my reading list. Is there anything else that I might have missed that you feel like you need the people to hear today, Ivan? I know I was bit over time, and you guys need to be on time with everything you do, okay?
You were trying to be on time. I mean, some conversations are just so deep, you just got to let them ride,
You do, but, I like to be just honest and transparent with everyone, and let you know that I more than respect your time. So thank you again for this opportunity and being able to speak with you today. And everyone, thank you for tuning in. This has been another week's episode of Downtown Podcast, here with Ivan Thomas. You can find him on social media, Ivan the Great, and support each other, learn, fix your credit, and dare to dream.
Yeah, defy gravity.
Defy gravity.
Of life. That's what it's about. All right.